Welcome to City of David. This is not a tour of City of David, but it actually started here. What you can see here is a kind of a wall from 3,800 years ago. Whoa! From the Jebusite time, and some houses and the archive of the palace of King David and King Solomon and the Jewish king of Jehudah right here as well. And I'm actually standing on it. If we will walk down, we will reach that I believe temple, or the basement of that temple, but we are not going to do that. If you want to see it, it's not a problem. Just enter to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and write City of David tour. Then we are right here, but we are leaving that amazing City of David. I have so many videos of it, because what we are doing, we are heading to the Kidron Valley and Garden of Gethsemane to bless everyone that are watching that tour. But not only. I started the tour from here because I want you to see a Mezuzah. And that Mezuzah is important because you can see even the prayer on it. Let me show it from here. I want you to pay attention that it's at the Rhine post door post, and it's actually at kind of, it's not square, it's turning right into the house. It's a little bit noisy here because it's a very difficult road to drive. Then I will continue to talk about it later on. On the way you can see the walls of the city and Al-Aqsa Mosque Dome. Then a Mezuzah in Hebrew, it's actually doorpost in English. It's referred to a small parchment, which you saw a big one, parchment scroll upon which the Hebrew words of Shema are handwritten by a scribe. You will find it in every Jewish house. And what is beautiful to know now, because of what's happened lately, the hate for the Jews, I cannot understand it. And when you are writing to me, I hate the Zionists, not the Jews, then let me tell you that it's the same thing. You're just hating. You're just a man of hate. Then, in that matter, the other way around, which makes me very happy to know, let me crow, wow, look what's happening today. It's Thursday, and Thursday it's a bar mitzvah day. You can see a bar mitzvah guy, Jonathan. And if that is the 16th century wall built by the Ottomans, what you see in front of you is basically the wall of the temple and the entrance of the temple that been destroyed 70 AD. So many Jews entered through here. Jesus was one of them. I know that it's a little bit noisy now, but that's the life of Jerusalem on Thursday. What is missing now, what we are missing now, are the tourists. Then you can imagine how difficult it is to reach that site on Thursday. Why there are no tourists? It's still a wartime. You can see the wall, and I don't know if you can see the three entrances. It's like arches between the trees. difficult to see it. Now we can see it even better. Now this is the main entrance to the temple, and the Mezuzah is actually from the Bible. It's a biblical thing. Every Jew at the entrance to his house, and so many other Jews, to the entrance of most of their rooms in their apartment, will add a mezuzah to it. Don't worry, we will read a little bit about what was written there in Hebrew and in English. But before, it's a little bit rainy, but before we will do that, this is what we believe, a gate from the time of King Solomon, 950 BC. You can see how it's supposed to be look like. Here it is. What I'm amazed to hear lately, that so many Christians knows that horrible people are against the Jews now, and they are horrible. I have no other way to say that. They are asking to put a mezuzah on their doors. Now this is a special mezuzah. This is only the house. Wait, it's a little bit noisy now. Let me cross to the other side. Although, as you can see, it's a little bit dangerous. Not a lot, a little bit. I'm so happy that I'm not driving now with tourists, because it can take years to cross it. Let me try to do that. Hooray! We did it. This is part of the Jewish cemetery. This is the unknown people. Sadly, it been destroyed. That part of the cemetery been destroyed by the Muslims, by the Jordanians in 1948. But if we're talking about tombs, let me show you tombs from the time of King David, because it's outside city of David. All right. Can you see that beautiful structure? Beneath it to the left, you can see windows. Then first of all, that beautiful building is a cemetery of a rich man from the time of King David, King Solomon. The windows are, sorry, and you will see a little bit more to the right. There are more windows on the cliff. And the garbage of the Muslim village, because they don't care about Mother Nature. See that? Those are tombs. Sorry, I didn't drink a lot. On top of the hill, you can see a beautiful green area. It's now a French monastery, Catholic one, but it used to be the palace of 1,000 women from the time of King Solomon, wives of King Solomon. Then, why it's very important for me, because so many Christians are asking me now to buy them a messianic Christian mezuzah, and they are adding it to their houses to support the Jews. And this is lovely. Now, what's the difference between a regular Jewish mezuzah, kosher mezuzah, than this? Not a lot. Shin, it's the name of God. You can see a menorah, and you can see a Star of David, and a fish. A fish, it's a symbol of the first symbol of Christianity. Before they used the cross, they used the fish, mainly because the Romans didn't let the Christians believe in Jesus until the 4th century. And if someone will had a cross on him, they will crucify him. Then this is not good. And then they will bury him in that Jewish cemetery from the time of King David until today. This is why there are so many cemeteries here, because this is the other side of Jerusalem. The Jews cannot be buried inside the city, and this is the wall of the city. This is the Kidron Valley, And the Kidron Valley symbolized the end of Jerusalem and the non-purity. Remember sacrification of the temple? All the blood goes into the Kidron Valley and slowly heading to the Dead Sea. Then so many Christians and Jews saw it as don't be there only if you are dying. You are crossing it when you are reaching the Judean desert and the Dead Sea. Then in that case, the Jews believe that when the Messiah will come, and I know that it's going to be difficult for you, my dear Christians, Messiah is not Jesus according to the Jews. They will be the first one who will resurrect. Then that one is dedicating to Paul and Rachel. Paul and Rachel, in Hebrew, it might be calling you Saul, Shaul, and Rachel. Rachel is Rachel. Remember St. Paul, Paulus, his name was Shaul. His nickname was Paul, and we are using it until now. You can see now the corner of two walls of the Jewish temple, the southern wall and the eastern wall. That is where we believe the devil tried Jesus. He told him to jump. But he said, I'm not trying God. The wall is not only from the time of King Herod. That temple been destroyed by 70 AD by the Romans. And then they use it as an army camp. And then everyone who actually controlled the city used that place as a holy site. The Muslims, you saw the Al-Aqsa. They believe that Muhammad ascended into heaven from there. And the Christians use it as well at the Crusade time. Then we are living now Jerusalem, and although I hate myself for doing it, let's walk through the valley, because to reach Garden of Gethsemane, it's very easy to walk through the road. But I want to be thinner. I already lost 20 kilos. Then we will walk down, and then we will have to climb up. This is the problem. But it's a beautiful tour. Look at my face now. I'm not happy. Why? Why I'm doing that? But I'm doing it. It actually reminds me Jesus. When he was at Garden of Gethsemane, he said, take the cup of me, but if that's your will, I will do that. If that's the mission, I'm going to do that. Then a lot of the tombstones been used by the, oh, look at the puppies. Hello, puppies. I don't know if you can see them. Used by the Jordanians for their roads and for their houses. And in 1967, when we came back, we tried to bring back the tombstones to the tombs, but we didn't find everything. If we are talking about the Messiah, Jesus, as a Messiah, entered to the city from here. This is Palm Sunday procession. And he promised us to come back from the same place, that he will come back to here and enter to the city through Mount of Olives. The Muslims believe that that God, Allah, will build a bridge between Mount of Olives to Jerusalem, and the good disciples will cross it safely. Now remember that this is only the house. The text itself is very important. For the Christians, I'm usually printed the text itself, but because it's very expensive. It can reach to more than $200. And I think it's a lot of money. The idea is very important. Then it looks like that. Remember, it's written by a scribe. And let me read it to you a little bit in English, in Hebrew first, and then in English, while I'm walking down. I hope that I won't die. But on the way, you can already see Garden of Gethsemane. It's not so far, just have to climb all the way up. Then, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. Don't worry, I will translate it soon. I will read it in Hebrew. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת גם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו תטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ושעריך. Alright, then I actually took the first part, and let me read it for you in Hebrew. And remember, that will be here. I will print to Paul and Rachel. I will bring the smaller part of it, and they will roll it and put it inside the house. And let me look for the English version, please. It's from the Bible, from the book of Deuteronomy 6:4-9. And the other part is the same chapter from, chapter 11 from 13 to 21, but I will read the first part. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is the Lord is one. And this is the most important sentence. At the Holocaust, when the Germans killed 6 million people, I believe that at least 4 million of them actually say that sentence before they've been killed. I know that so many people that been released from the Gazan people now, you know that there are another 101 people who've been kidnapped that are still in Gaza. And I know that a lot of them, the one that been released, actually say that sentence just before they've been taken to Gaza. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talks about them when you are sit at home and when you are walk along the road and when you lie down. I'm trying not to fall. And when you get up, tie them as symbols on your hand and bind them on your forehead. This is the tefillin. Remember the tefillin on the head of the Jews and the hand of the Jew. I just uploaded a video about it to my YouTube channel, and I'm sure that you are going to subscribe it. Please do that. You're the only tourist that I have. But this is the most important sentence connected to the Mezuzah. Write them on the door frames of your houses and your gates. That's why it was important for me that you will actually visit City of David, and you will see at least one of them, because we are heading to a Christian place. You won't find there a Mezuzah. Then here it is in front of you, Paul and Rachel. This is especially for you. I know that Paul loves olive trees. Then you will see a lot of olive trees soon. What you see here are tombs from 2nd century. The right one is Zechariah. According to the Christian, it might be the father of John the Baptist. but we are not sure. To the left, the house of Hazir, which were one of the 24 priest families, and the one that we are heading. So many people are, believe that is the tomb of Absalom, the son of King David, that was against the king and even tried to kill him. And because he knew that he is not so popular, he decided to build his tombstone before he died. But the structure is from the Second Temple time. Then I'm not sure that it is his, but maybe later on someone built on top of it a new monument. I forgot to mention that the Zachariah tomb is a monolith one. It's one stone from down to up. It's not empty from the inside. And here, the first part is a monolith, but the other two above were built. In Hebrew, it's called Yad Shalom. If you've been in Israel, maybe you've been at Yad Vashem, the memorial museum for the Holocaust. Yad, it's a hand, but it's memorial as well. Shem, it's a name of 6 million people who died in the Holocaust, but it's the name of God too. Shem, remember the Shin? Shaddai, Shem. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's huge. The hole that you see there is a reminder of people who tried to rob that place, but there was nothing there. But I must tell you that there's another cave around it, because this is only the nefesh, the soul. The tomb itself is behind. Now, when we came to here, I think until 1967, there was a huge hill of small stones. Because remember, he was a bad man. Then the Jews used to take, not only the Jews, even the Muslims used to do that, to take their children to here. And they said, if you will be against me, my dear child, I will stone you. And now we are climbing. We actually are leaving Jerusalem. We are already at the Kidron Valley. Paul, you can see some olive trees to your left side, belongs to the Christians. This is one of the entrances to the cemetery. The Jews are still bury themselves exactly like Jesus was buried. The same day, they will purify the body, they will put a shroud around him, and they will bury them naked, without a casket, without a coffin. All right, you will read it in English from the book of Samuel, 2nd, chapter 18, and I will read it for you in Hebrew. It's from right to left. ואבשלום, now we know who is Absalom, לקח, ויצב לו בחייו את מצבת אשר בעמק המלך. This is the valley of the king valley. ויקרא לה יד אבשלום עד היום הזה. Now you know why it's called Avshalom Monument, Yad Avshalom. It's difficult to translate it into English, but this is Yad Avshalom. And there's another story of the Kidron Valley, and I will read it in Hebrew as well. You will read it in English from the book of Joel 4:1-2. And this is very important. This is quite an important thing. ובעת ההיא אשר אשיב את שבות יהודה וירושלים וקיבצתי את כל הגויים והורדתם אל עמק יהושפט ונשפטתי שם איתם. Now, Josaphat, Valley of Josaphat, is the name of that Kidron Valley. Josaphat, because it's in Hebrew, Yehoshaphat. It's two words, Yeho. This is one of the names of God. Some of you call it Jehovah. I don't know if it's true, if it's the real name or not. Shaphat, judge. Then this is the judgment place of God. And so many believes that this is Armageddon. And we know that, I think the book of Zechariah, if I'm not wrong, Zechariah 11 actually tells us that at Sukkot, which is tabernacles, this is the place that every man must come, and all the Gentiles, the non-Jews, must come to here, and he will judge you here. Then, if not, very bad things will happen to you. Then Sukkot, which is a Jewish holiday, became to be an international holiday. You can see the wall, the eastern wall of Jerusalem. And the most important thing is, and it's difficult for me to hold everything in two ends. You can see the gate of, in Hebrew it's the gate of mercy. In English it's the golden gate. And let me read for Samuel 2:15. I will read it in Hebrew as you can understand, but you can read it in English. והמלך, I'm talking about King David, עובר בנחל קדרון, this is Kidron Valley, וכל העם עוברים על פני דרך את המדבר. Because the other side of Mount of Olives is a desert. This side is green. But if you've been with me, if you watched my videos of Mount of Olives, you saw the other side of it. Now, Garden of Gethsemane is right there. And thank you, Paul and Rachel. I'm doing it slowly and I'm feeling good. Then, I'm feeling good. Then, Genesis 17 to 19. And the king, Hebrew. ויצא מלך סדום לקראתו אל עמק שווה, valley of שווה, שווה it's equal. And הוא עמק המלך, this is the valley of the king. ומלכי צדק, מלך שלם, הוציא לחם ויין. ויאמר ברוך אברהם, לאל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ. This is the meeting between Melchizedek and Abraham. And he was here in the valley of the king. Kidron Valley. You see so many stories we have here. From the gate, Golden Gate, we believe that Jesus will enter to the city when he will come back. But the high priest at the time of the temple used to take out the scapegoats. Unbelievable, isn't it? You can see some tombstones. The one with cement without any mention, it's those being destroyed by the Jordanians. And you can see some remains that we find in that area. But this is a new one. It's about a rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak Ades. And you can see even the story of his here. Straight ahead, it's the restrooms. And it's open every day. Then you can visit it. Now, Paul, I know that you love olive trees. It's already 29 minutes and we didn't reach the garden. I hope that it will be open because of the wartime. Nothing is for sure. It might be that the garden will be open to the public, but the church might be closed. And it might be noisy. It will be noisy. Let me stop for a minute and drink some water. Guys, I know it's going to be difficult to hear me now because it's quite a noisy road, but look how beautiful it is. The eastern wall of the temple. Where's the beautiful gate that you saw? And we actually walked through there and climbed all the way up. I must say, Paul and Rachel, it was quite easy. I might cut that tour into two. I mean, it's going to be the long version is one if you're watching it, but if not, it might be another part of it only about Garden of Gethsemane. Then the eastern wall of the temple, that structure represents the place that St. Stephen was stoned. But look at the beautiful facade of the Garden of Gethsemane church, and thanks God it's opened, and I think we will be able to enter. Let me see if the gate is open, only the doors. And as I believe we will be almost the only one. The garden itself is to your left side, and some people believe that it is from the time of King Herod. You can see the slopes of Mount of Olives. The Jewish cemetery is right there. The facade tells us, I think the story of John with the angel who went down. It's only a John. John? Yes, I think it's in John. No, Mark. Please write me at the comment. I think it was sorry, Luke. The book of Luke, for sure. Then here it is. You can see two groups of believers. The left one is the smart people, the educated people that actually say, we need some evidence. The right one is the common people like me that actually just believe in Jesus. The angel came to help him, mainly because the disciples fell asleep. It's a little bit cloudy. It's only 60 degrees, but it's excellent weather. The book of Matthew, chapter 36 tells us, then Jesus went with his disciple to a place called Garden of Gethsemane. Now, he went from Mount Zion of today. That's where we believe the room of the Last Supper was. He went through the valley and came to the place that he used to be with his disciples. Now, some believes that place was a place of rich person who believes in Jesus. Garden of Gethsemane is the place that he used to press olive fruit into olive oil. Then it might be there. And we found lately, you can see that there are excavations down there. We found here a mikveh. A mikveh tells us that to have an olive from that holy mountain, it's holy. They use it to anoint it, the people. They use it for the temple. Then in that case you have to purify yourself before doing it. Then that might be here, and that's where Jesus could hide himself from his enemies. Gethsemane, two words, Gat, press, Semani, olive, then olive press. And he said to them, sit here while I go over there to pray. Now, where is it here? First of all, let me try to cross it without dying. And I didn't die. Boker tov. Boker tov לכולם. חרא, אבל בסדר. Then according to what we believe, down there is a cave And this is the grotto of Garden of Gethsemane. That's where the disciples stayed. And he took Peter and two sons of Zebedee. Well, we know that Jesus, and then, thank you, and then James and John were the other two. And those three were, they were his best disciples. And let's see if it's open. Yes, it's open. I can see that those two are entering. And we're climbing now Mount of Olives. Then he took the three with him, the best disciples. And he entered to the garden. If that was a Jewish place, then that's how the Mezuzah was supposed to be glued. How are you? Good to see you. Yes, everything's okay. No, of course not. No tourist. At home, crying. Then you can see how beautiful the olive trees looks like. Some of them are quite old. Quite old, I must say. And they already harvested, and I missed it this year. And the oil, most of the oil goes straight to the most important churches for the lamps. Then he took those three along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Look how powerful Jesus is. I'm sorry if I'm reading it in a broken English, mainly because the letters are too small for me, and I'm walking and I'm thinking about what to say. Then it's a problem. It is a problem. Let me see. Wait. He went a little bit further, and he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup, wherever it is, be taken from me. Yet," and this is amazing, "not as I will, but as you will." Now this is great, because when he knew the plan. He knew that that's what he's supposed to do. But you can see his human nature and divine nature in one sentence. Now it reminds me Abraham that fell to the ground with his face when he met God himself, when he heard God. This is beautiful. But take that cup. I always wonder why he mentioned cup. If you remember the aristocrats in Greece, when they found guilty or not guilty, they had to drink kind of water in the cup, and there was poison in it. Some died because they were sinners, some didn't. Then I think the cup itself, the idea of the cup, came from there, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Then he returned to the disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you, man, keep watch with me for 1 hour? Now, remember, they came from the Passover meal, and that I got the message from my mother, and she said, in Passover, the Jews are praying all night, and they're eating too much, and at least a lot of wine including, then you can understand what's happened to those beautiful. They're tired. They didn't understand the idea that he said, I will die and in about 3 days I will resurrect. It is difficult to understand it by the Jews. It's almost not possible. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. And this is really important. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's what my mother told me. The spirit is willing, but the body is a problem. I can understand it now, mother. I can understand it. He went away a second time and prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying this, sorry, I have to think. 3 times in the Bible tells us that this is a divine plane. The idea is that Jesus is divine and we are human beings. We almost fell. And that's why Jesus came for us, to change it. And then he returned to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour came and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. He came, my betrayer. And you know that Judas came, kissed him, and they took Jesus with them. Then this is a beautiful story, but we are in that story. You are in that story, and that's what I want you to understand. This is the most important olive trees in the world. Paul, this is for you. You asked for it, and you got it. The energy is so strong. I can be here just like you for hours. I can pray here just like you for hours. The church itself is new, but it was built on top of, sorry about the noise, it was built on top of a 4th century church and 12th Crusader church as well. What we are going to see inside the church. And in the church I won't be able to talk, but don't leave me because it's not the end of the video. Meanwhile, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to have your own Mezuzah, cross or Bible, go into the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is at the description, the text that attached to that video, and you will see those links. I will bless your holy, let's say, Bible cross in one of the churches in Jerusalem, and I will upload the video to YouTube and I will send it to you. Then you will have it in your house. It's yours. It's not mine, but the energy will be so strong. Then in that case, inside the church, I will be quiet, but I will show you 4th century mosaic floor. I will show you the stone. I can show you some pictures of it. It will be easier for you to understand it, but I won't be able to talk unless no one will be there. I will try to bless it on the place that he was praying. Remember when Judas came, you can see the light of Jesus because he is the light. And remember, someone cut his hair. Jesus here, one of the servants here. Jesus, I will show you Jesus kissing Jesus. Judas kissing Jesus. And another thing that you must know, that church was built by the help of 14 countries. I think, Paul, you are from America, then I will show you the American dome. Then let's enter, and let me try to be quiet unless no one will be there. Look how beautiful it is. The American dome. Century mosaic wall. Mosaic floor. Oh, it's closed. Let me see if the door is closed or not. Yes, it is. Now, this is the closest place to the rock. This. While I will go out, you can pray. A little bit of the sun, look at the sun. This is the first time that I can see a little bit of the sun today. It was rainy for the last 3 days. But I hope that everything that you ask will become true. Now I want to show you a few things before we are saying goodbye. Two of them is actually the two olive trees that were planted by the popes who've been here. The first one was St. Franciscus, 2014, and the tree is there, and the second one is from 1964, and you can compare it, wait a minute, to the ancient trees here. But before that, look at that stone. And this is the same rock that you saw in the church. And what is beautiful to know is that Franciscans kept that part for the non-Catholic. Because everyone wants to be at Garden of Gethsemane. I think everyone accepted that that was the place. Then quite an important site. And this is 1964 tree planted by Sao Paulo. That was at the time of the Jordanians. Until 1967, that place was owned by the Jordanians. They occupied the place from the future Arab Palestinians that never existed as a country, and they call it the West Bank. Then we are at the West Bank. The West Bank of what? The West Bank of the Jordan River. The East Bank belongs to the Jordanians until today. Jordan is an artificial country from 1947, I think. What is beautiful to see here is the word peace, and they are planted now beautiful flowers around it. You saw the gardener, which is a beautiful guy, and look how beautiful is that dome of the rock from here, the site of the Jewish temple. Bzzzt. Guys, that was an amazing tour of 50 minutes. When you will reach the end, what I want you to write is 51 actually, and I will know that you watch every inch of that video, every second of it, and I promise to bless you. Thank you very much for being with me. Bye bye.